What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Planetary Reviews, and I'm here to finally talk about The Crew 2. Sorry it took me so long to review this game and get through it, but there was a lot to do in this game, and there's a lot to talk about. Now, when it comes to the first game, personally, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought it was cool, I thought it was a good idea, but the way the cars felt and driving felt to me, it didn't resonate with me and I didn't really enjoy it, so I didn't end up playing it all too much. I ended up selling it back pretty quickly, so I really didn't get a good impression. But when I saw The Crew 2 and I saw the ideas they were coming up with, and I saw that they were adding motocross bikes, street bikes, cars, planes, boats, monster trucks, this was all great in my opinion, because they were embracing the more crazy aspect of racing. It's the more arcadey, the more out there, the more bombastic part of a racing game, and I felt that's something that they needed to do, because in the first one I felt like they were trying to be a little bit too serious, especially with the story and the way the cars handled and stuff like that. I really didn't feel like what that game wanted to be, but with this one I got a better idea because it embraced the craziness, it embraced the arcadey part of The Crew, and I liked that a whole lot. So, let's get down to it. The story to this game is pretty much you're trying to make your way into this huge competition that takes place all over the US, and you're trying to build your way up by getting more followers, which means you have to win races, do cool stuff, and try to basically impress people. And that is pretty much the gist of the story, and that's all I wanted the story to be. When I play a racing game, I don't play a racing game for drama. I don't play a racing game for plot. I play a racing game for racing, to get better cars, to upgrade my cars, to make the cars look nice. I don't play for a plot. So I was very happy when I saw the fact that all this game was big competition, try to be the best. There you go. That's fantastic. I love that. There were some negatives about it. The voice acting for it wasn't the best, you know. It had like voice acting. It wasn't anything great. And the animations for the characters during certain cutscenes were not very nice looking. But again, even though those are negatives, I don't go into a racing game looking for that. So it didn't really bother me all too much. So I'll talk about the graphics, which in my opinion are very nice. They look really well. The graphics for the cars look really awesome. The planes look great. The cars look amazing. Great detail. I really enjoyed that. The only thing is, if you really look close, you're going to notice that the buildings don't look great, and you're going to notice that maybe some of the textures on the street don't look as good, or the textures on the benches, whoever goes looking at that, don't look as good. And I've seen a lot of people talk about that they made some downgrades to the graphics. But I'm going to be honest with you, you're not going to notice, because when this game is in motion, when you're racing and you're just focusing on winning a race, guess what? You're not going to care that the concrete on the street doesn't look as good. You're not going to care that that bench doesn't look as good as the bench from the first game. You're not going to care. You're not going to care that the buildings don't look as good as they did in the first one, or the lighting or anything like that, because when it comes down to it in a racing game, it has to look good when you're racing, when you're in it. And in my opinion, this game looks awesome. Is it the best looking racing game? No, but it still looked good, and I enjoyed it. I liked the visual aesthetic of the game, the way it felt when I was racing. That was all good, and the performance of this game was very nice. It performed well on my PS4 Pro. I didn't experience any frame rate drops. That was all good. So performance and graphics wise, we're good. I had a very good time and I enjoyed it. So after that, let's get to the nitty-gritty and the gameplay. The way this game is going to work is that obviously your goal is to win this competition and become the best racer in America, in this motor nation. So the way you do that, there are separate categories that you have to win. There is a more professional racing league like area where it's like you race power boats, you race grand touring cars, you'll race, F1 cars. All the professional racing is one area, and when you complete a certain amount of races and activities in that area, you have to take down the quote-unquote king of that category. And there's different ones. There's the pro racing, the off-road motocross style type racing, then there is the freestyle, where you're gonna have like these aerobatic, trying to do tricks in the air with your plane and stuff. You do monster truck tricks and stuff like that. And then you have like these not power boats but tinier boats, so that you can do like these more like tighter courses and tighter type races. I don't remember exactly what they were called, those boats, but you have races like that. And then after that you have the street racing, which is the one that I went straight for because I love street racing. I love the idea of it. I think that's really cool. So you have that, which has hypercar racing, which are, some of those races can be very long-winded endurance races, which are really fun, but you have to be focused in them. And then you have the drag racing, which is really fun, a really cool little, you know, when you shift, you have to make sure you shift at the right time, press the right button, and make sure you get perfect shifts, which is really cool, and you really get that sense of speed during that mode. And then you have the traditional street racing, which is just like a circuit race with laps, and you try and beat the other person. And then after that, you have the drift racing, which of course you have to try and drift, get as many points as the high score of that mission. And that's the gist of everything you're going to be doing. And after you complete each and every single one of those, you beat a boss in each category. And then at the end of the game, they give you a nice little event that you have to do. And that's pretty much what you're going to be doing for the story. In my opinion, I think that all these activities are very fun because I love the street racing. You had a wide variety of cars, which was great. Every car in this game felt unique, felt different, and I loved it. I loved going on to the planes. Usually, I'm not even a flying guy. I don't even like to fly planes in most games. And the fact that I actually had a good time in the aerobatics category, which was really cool, just sitting there doing tricks in the sky, and that was a really fun activity. And the thing about the vehicles in this game is that I will say the way the mechanics work and stuff like that for each car and each vehicle, while it does work, it isn't the best that I've ever played, but it's serviceable enough that you will at least have fun in every category, in my opinion. The racing in this game feels fresh, it feels good, the cars feel like they have weight to them, you feel the suspension when you turn, it feels good without making it become a simulation. It's a good in-between that I could enjoy. Not as good as the Forza Horizon series where I feel like they got the real, just beautiful middle point between arcade and simulation. But this game certainly does it really well, and I had a great time with it. The only thing I have to say when it comes to negativity about the way you upgrade your cars is the loot system. While it isn't bad, I don't enjoy having a racing game with a loot system and a score system on, like, because every time you win a race you get loot, different colors, different rarities, and you put it in and it improves your car, and certain pieces become like legendary pieces that'll give you like additional perks and stuff like that, which is cool. But I really enjoy, when it comes to upgrading a car and making your car better, is just buying parts, putting them in. I understand how they're trying to make this feel like almost like a racing MMO, which is cool. I like that idea. But I'm just so attuned, and I really do love the aspect of just buying a car and then racing, getting money, upgrading the car yourself on what you want to do instead of depending on the loot that comes to you. That personally is not my favorite thing in the world, but you know what? It's not horrible. I just don't enjoy it that much. The next thing I want to talk about is the fact that there is microtransactions in this game, and in my opinion they didn't get too much in the way. There are two currencies. There is a blue currency and then there is the game currency, which is the way I would show the way the microtransactions work in this game. It works where the pricing isn't terrible. The pricing, in my opinion, I was able to play this game without paying any in, like, you know, real life money. I just played the game and I got a good amount of money to buy some good cars. And also, for beating each category, you get like a really awesome ultimate car, which is really great, getting that car for doing all this hard work. So you do get that. And yeah, sometimes you look at the numbers, like some cars that cost like $1.something million. Yes, it will take you a while to get there, but I never felt like I couldn't. I never felt like that was out of reach. I always felt like I was going to be able to get to that car just through playing the game. So it wasn't too outrageous with like, this car costs $10 million and I'm only getting like 10 grand a race. No, it never felt like that. It always felt like, yes, it would take a little while, but it's doable. It never felt like, hey, use real money to get this car. that's just how I felt on the microtransactions. Not too terrible, but they are there for those of you who do not like that. The next thing I want to talk about is the map. The size of this map is wonderful. I love the fact that we have pretty much a scaled down version of the US. Now, is it accurate? No. If you're looking for a game that has the US map completely accurate, no. If I were to pop up a map of the US and put it next to the map that they have in this game, wouldn't be 100% accurate, mainly due to the fact that certain like states are missing. So if you're sitting there playing this game and you're driving and you're just like, how did I go from New York and I'm already like in DC already? Where's the in-betweens? It's funny. It is funny looking at how the map is set up and seeing how certain places are not exactly where they should be. But you know what? That's okay. I get it. They had to scale it down. I just thought it was something funny to mention, that it wasn't done 100% right as to where the US is, for people who obviously live in this country who are playing this game and going, wait a minute, where's that state? Where's this? This shouldn't be here. Yellowstone shouldn't be here. Las Vegas shouldn't be there. It is pretty funny to mention, but the size of the map is very great to just sit there and drive through, and you do have the ability to fast travel. So if you don't feel like driving, all you have to do, open up the map, click, boom, you can find your place that you want to go to and travel there. Now, there was one issue that I noticed, that like, it felt like the game would slow down a little bit when I would go to the map and there was like a loading time in between. It just felt like it was kind of just like skippy. A little clunky when you would go into the map once in a while. So that's my issue with the map. But other than that, there was no other real glitches that I bumped into when it came to performance and stuff like that. That was the only little hitch that I bumped into, really. And the next thing I want to talk about is just the fact that the Crew 2, with how big it is, with how many vehicles they have, with the variety they have going, with the size of the map, I feel like this is still a very, very good first try for something of this scale and this much variety. Overall, the Crew 2 is a very fun racing game that you can play with your friends and do co-op racing, which really is very fun. I did this entire game with a friend of mine. We had a great time just going through some of the races, and just sometimes you would have issues where we were racing mainly on his side. I personally didn't experience it as much, but he would bump into like some like invisible walls, things that you wouldn't know are exactly breakable, that usually you could like drive through something and it breaks, but then other times you could drive through something and it stops you, and it's sometimes hard to guess what exactly you could drive through and what you can't drive through. So there is that. So at the end of the day, the Crew 2 was not perfect, but it also was not bad. This was still a great first start for where the Crew is going to. I really do approve of what Ubisoft has been doing and what Ivory Tower is going to do in the future to improve this game, because I'm very excited for it, and I thought this was still a very fun game. So the Crew 2 gets a solid B for me, guys. Guys, thank you so much for watching my review. I'm sorry it took me a little bit, but I wanted to at least give you guys my review because I finally did beat it. I wanted to give you guys my review, my thoughts on the Crew 2, because this was a big game. There was a lot of content to go through, so many things you could do in terms of customization and character customization and car customization, so many activities, so many different types of ways to level up your cars, whatever car you want, if you want to specialize it, blah blah blah. There was a lot of stuff to go through, so it took me some time, and I apologize that it took so long to bring it out, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. Tell me what you guys thought. Did you guys think this game was better than the Crew 1? Did you feel like it was worse than the Crew 1? What do you guys feel? Because me personally, I thought it was better and much more fun, and I put a ton of hours into it, and I do not regret a single minute of it. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.